go to Facebook page and get it the same day as we know. So far, it's extremely difficult. The source has been so reliable for the last 15 and 20 years, and being able to nail them because he is of Bilderberg quality. He's an international financier, and he's talked to these people as an individual, as an acquaintance.
Hey, how tapped do you think your phone is?
Certainly it is tapped because I have an unlisted number that's not published for defensive reasons, and people still call me and never been given the number. Or, I've been told it's tapped.
Well, you found bugs in your hotel room. You've been shot at. That was Portugal when they shot at you, correct?
Yeah. In fact, I remember when I was checking into a little town where Bilderberg was meeting about 40 miles from Atlanta, and of course I always take the cheapest room possible. It's always a smoking room to save the company money, and I was all settled in, getting ready to settle in, pulling my other pair of socks out of the drawer, when they came down to me and said, we put you in the wrong room. Your room is 135, not 125 or whatever. So I trot down there. And after about an hour or so, lunch and newspapers, I rolled back. I had a message to call somebody, but to use a public phone, not my phone. So I called this guy who's been with the CIA for a lot of years and was now a good friend and champion of exposing Bilderberg. Called me and said, your phone is tapped. So is your chair. You can pull the microphones out of your chair, but leave them on the phone itself so they'll think it's that you're completely bugged. But always remember, when you're on that phone, somebody's listening.
Incredible. Now, we've got Mark Anderson riding shotgun. Pop in anytime. Mark, you've got points you want to make. So you have no intel right now on where it's going to be, is what you're saying, Jim?
Yes, and as soon as we do, we'll tell you.
Well, what do you think of them saying it's going to be Haifa over in Israel? Because, I mean, isn't it always every 4 years in North America, or do they ever break with that sometimes?
I've not been able to confirm anything about this Israel thing. I kind of doubt it, but I'm still trying to check it out.
What does your gut tell you? I mean, if they're going to be having the G8 summit at Camp David, and they're going to be having NATO in Chicago, I mean, don't they like to be in the U.S. when there's a big election every 4 years?
They don't always pivot to elections because their orders are carried out anyway. They own both horses in a two-horse race. Ever since and after Richard Nixon, every president after Richard Nixon has been a member of the Trilateral Commission, the junior varsity, before becoming president or vice president. So in both parties. So they always own, as I said, those horses in a two-horse race.
Sure. Let me raise this point. Mark Anderson, are you still there?
Yeah, I can chime in anytime. I do think that the every 4 years presidential race is a pretty good barometer, and I think that despite all their pseudo-sophistication, these people are somewhat predictable. I'd say it's a high likelihood it'll be in North America this year, although not guaranteed. They trotted out Barack Obama in 2008 and, got their imprimatur on him. I believe back in the early 90s, they also trotted out the obscure Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton and said, will he do? Can we put him in the White House? And everybody nodded and said, sure, a little gamey, but we'll go with him and all that. And so, they do have to get somebody lined up for president that will get the nod of these chess players.
Just like Gordon Brown or Tony Blair or any of them, or Von Rompuy of the EU. What about this, Jim? What about this point that a lot of times about trilateral commission meetings would have happened, or Bilderberg steering? Do you have any intel on the last steering meeting and what is front and center on their agenda right now? Last time you got a snapshot. Can you give us that data point? What's on their agenda?
Who are you asking?
You, Jim.
Okay. Their agenda remains a war with Israel, with spending mostly American money and shedding mostly American blood in backup type of things. So, paint this Iran leader as a bloody-handed threat, so we can go to war. But the good news is they are failing miserably, as they have for the last several years. They've been trying to get this war going now we're off this last Bilderberg meeting, and they're failing miserably because there's growing public awareness. I've said before, last year in Switzerland, we had 1,200 people there. 200 of them were reporters, either broadcast reporters or newspaper reporters, and drove them wild. And because the American patriots are very good about calling and writing their senators and congressmen, now no senator or congressman dares go for political reasons. He won't say, well, he'll tell his Bilderberg, but it's why he can't go. But the reason he can't go is because of the phone calls he'll get. People say, I'll never vote for you again. And then their elections get closer. We've had a couple of upset elections as a result. The Tea Party is going strong as a result. And American patriotism is.
All right, so people are really waking up. Jim, how long do you think you're going to continue to be able to, cover Bilderberg? Because you've done such an incredible job over the years. I mean, you've said in the past you'll never stop. And I was talking to Mark. He said that you're healthier and got more energy than ever.
Well, I'm doing fine. I just carry this cane along because I'm a freelance song and dance man.
So you're carrying a cane now, huh?
Well, for the last 2 years. In fact, it has a lot of fringe benefits. When you go into the airport, in the section where they invite cripples in a very short line because they're cripples, they give you a wheelchair, they push you around, you tell them where your gate is, they know exactly where to go, you don't have to go up escalators.
Do you like the TSA groping?
Well, what's that?
You know how the TSA now likes to stick their hands down people's pants. What do you think of that?
I'm not trying with my pants.
So you don't like it, yeah.
Because what expense we should undertake is to get some toilet-trained, literate guards at the airports. They pay $8 an hour now, which is below the minimum wage in most states. So they get these illiterate donkeys, and the illiterate donkeys are more likely to try to grab a woman, to touch a woman intimately than the normal people.
Well, it's all part of teaching us. The TSA's caught running sex rings, pedophile rings. I mean, what do you expect? Jim, anything else you think that we should know that's really important coming up? Anything you want to impart to the audience? And the same thing to Mr. Anderson.
Well, certainly I want to say do not let up. We have been winning. We should celebrate our victories. But not be so overconfident that victory turns into defeat. Let's never stop telling the American politicians and State Department people and other major departments like Defense and Treasury, which is always...
Well, yeah, because exposure is only one part of the equation. We've got to keep exposing and then demand justice. What do you think of Corzine stealing millions and getting away with it publicly?
very unimpressed. I mean, you can be smart, but you can also be criminally smart.
Now, both of you are going to be there this year, regardless if it's in Europe or if it's in Timbuktu or if it's in the United States or Canada. Both of you are going to be there?
Yes.
It would seem so. Of course, that's always predicated on resources provided we have the resources to do so. Like any other news organization, things are kind of lean. But I'll just add, because I've got to cut out here, but I'll just add that Nicholas Burns told a Chicago Council on Global Affairs audience last night that, reconstituting and redefining NATO is a huge thing, and they want to move to the Pacific Rim and Asia and contain China. It's another big thing, and team up with Australia and New Zealand, and a huge thing is the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I want to say bye to both of you off air here in just a moment, but I want to thank Jim Tucker. I want to thank Mark Anderson, AmericanFreePress.net. You can find their Facebook. Mark, on the top of your head, what's the Facebook address for American Free Press?
I actually don't know.
Hey, it's all right. It's linked up on the website, and we'll find out during the break and plug it after the break. Our site's Infowars.com. Let me say bye to both of you right now. A little over a year ago, I began... I'll be the first in line. You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of this criminal government, the TSA, all of it. Always trying to make us think we've done something wrong, and we're bad, and we're evil, and we've got something to hide. I mean, here is another article about the TSA running giant prostitution rings. You don't have to be a criminal sexual deviant to work for the TSA, but it helps. Steve Watson, Infowars.com. Prostitution rings, child pornography, trashing hotel rooms, and drunkenly firing guns. A week in the life of TSA agents. Now, I've watched this in Russia. Lenin and Stalin did it. Hitler did it in Germany. Mao did it. They hire people right out of the prisons or street thugs. Because you can't go to the old military or regular esprit de corps of the police and get them to just go into houses and shoot whole families. You always create kind of a street security thug that's federal, and then as the attacks expand, then you start recruiting open criminals in. I mean, who else wants to rip colostomy bags off people and take baby diapers off and scream at people? And again, either folks that really need a job, and that's some of them. It's always like a nice TSA guy. Listen, I don't really want to do this groping. Just can't you go on the scanner? No. All right, let me call Bob over. Bob comes over. That's the person that... So the guy's like, I'm sorry, he just wants a job. But then there's always the supervisor that's, I got kids chained up in the basement at home. Get ready for a proctology exam. I mean, that's basically what it is. And, I mean, it's like every day there's like 20 crimes they're committing, showing that the police and FBI aren't totally corrupt because they are at least busting them. I mean, the most criminal group in law enforcement, because they're not even law enforcement, they're not even sworn, is the TSA. Then it's truancy officers. You can look at the crime statistics. And then it's the ATF. And then it's big city, Chicago, New York police, Miami police. I'm going down the list here. Detroit police. Dallas police are pretty darn corrupt at the higher levels. I mean, you look at crime statistics. And then you get into the FBI and other people like that. And it is creepy to know they're this criminal. I mean, chances are that person that wants to grope your daughter, and see, I can't fly with my children. I cannot watch my 4-year-old and 7-year-old daughters being grabbed by pedophiles. I mean, I can't handle it. There was one incident I'm not even getting into where it was TSA-style checkpoints on the ground, and nothing ended up happening. So I don't even get into it because they could have really, I could have ended up in some trouble over because I just couldn't handle it. And they were so blown away by, the King Kong behavior that they were just like shocked. But I mean, I just, listen, this is not an act the way I act on air. This is real. I'm totally freaked out. I want to wake people up.